Every year, crowds flock to western Norway to see places like the Longfoss waterfall, drawn by the scale and natural power of the fjords. But these slopes hide a distinct hazard. The mountains here are incredibly steep, and with constant heavy rainfall, the dirt trails become notoriously slick. As tourism numbers swelled, so did the danger. Inexperienced hikers were slipping on the mud and loose rock, leading to a sharp spike in trail accidents. At the base of the waterfall, businesses like Nina Kaltwasser's farm, which has been in her family for 12 generations, rely entirely on this foot traffic. For their local economy to survive, the mountain had to be made safe. The obvious fix is a sturdy set of stone stairs. However, the sheer vertical drop of the cliff faces makes it physically impossible to drive heavy construction machinery up the mountain to build them. 20 years ago, a local contractor tried building these paths by hand. He hired the strongest local laborers he could find, but after just 1 or 2 days of hauling rock up the extreme incline, the workers completely collapsed. Norwegian infrastructure development had hit a wall. Getting these trails built required looking for a specialized skill set that simply didn't exist in the West. Facing a total work stoppage, contractor Geir Vetti contacted an Everest expedition veteran living 6,000 kilometers away in Nepal, the father of a Sherpa named Nima. He looked to the Sherpas because of where they come from. Living in remote, high-altitude villages directly beneath the massive peaks of the Himalayas, their bodies are adapted to thin air and brutal ascents. The Sherpas brought 2 things the locals lacked: extreme physical endurance and a deep, generational knowledge of shaping mountainstone by hand. These crews arrived as a highly specialized technology, an imported set of skills purpose-built for extreme, high-altitude construction. To bypass the total lack of ground machinery, the crews rely on modern aviation. Helicopters fly the material in through the air, carrying massive stones one at a time. Down on the steep slopes, a ground team coordinates directly with the pilot to land them with total precision. Once the stone is dropped, the physical challenge begins. The teams must manually maneuver these boulders into position, some of which weigh up to 1,000 kilograms. Using traditional hand tools, they carefully carve away sections of the rock. Each piece is shaped so it sits flush, mimicking the natural contour of the mountainside. The locals call these paths Sherpa, the Sherpa stairs. Over the last 2 decades, these teams have constructed more than 200 paths across Norway, with some locations demanding over 4,000 individual steps. By combining the heavy lift capability of modern helicopters with ancient Himalayan handcraft, they overcame terrain that had stalled Norwegian construction projects for years. This work requires the crews to leave their families in Nepal and travel to western Norway for months at a time. By working in the fjords, they earn roughly 20 times their local monthly wage, injecting capital that directly transforms the standard of living for their entire community back home. Without this steady income, many would have to rely on their region's primary alternative, working as guides on high-risk Everest expeditions. In return, Norway gets a permanent solution to its safety crisis. The stone provides a flat, stable surface regardless of the rain, dropping the accident rate and opening the trails to tourists of all ages and fitness levels. For the builders themselves, the labor carries a deeper significance. As Buddhists, they believe that constructing a path to make a difficult journey easier for others is a profoundly good deed. They leave a distinct mark on their workspaces, stringing traditional prayer flags high above the rockways, trusting the wind to carry goodwill across the fjords. Long after the builders have returned to the Himalayas, the stone stairs remain. They stand as a quiet, functional monument, connecting 2 distant mountain cultures, forever changing how people access this landscape.